Welcome to Brier's Music Showcase. I'm Bryer and welcome to another video. And in this one, I'm going to be talking about albums where if you admit to actually liking, then a good majority of people are going to look at you funny. So, guilty pleasure albums, basically. So if I'm going to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of that term because, I mean, if you've been following the channel for a while now, I'm pretty outspoken of what I like and what I don't like. I mean, my collection has many genres and artists, and some people like what I talk about, some people not so much. So I'm going to be showcasing 11 albums that I have in my collection that to most people would be considered like a guilty pleasure. And in all honesty, like, I do generally enjoy all of these, and some of them I kind of get why people don't like them, but you know, for some reason I do. So by the end of this video, you're either going to understand my point of view or you're going to start thinking I'm losing my marbles. So you be the judge. So in the comments below, let me know if you agree with some of my choices. Do you like some of my choices? And if not, let me know why. And also you can share some of your guilty pleasure albums or artists too. So without further ado, let's get started. So first up, this is a pretty big name, especially in the 80s. First up, we are going with Rick Astley, Whenever You Need Somebody. So of course, a lot of us know the big massive hit, which is Never Gonna Give You Up, which has been a meme for decades now. I mean, you can't escape that song. But aside from that big hit, there's some other good stuff on here. Like, it's just your typical synth heavy 80s pop, but I just like that sound for some reason. And I like his voice too. It's very low, has that low rich tone to it, which is I kind of enjoy. But other songs I enjoy is the title track and Together Forever, which I think was another pretty big song for him. Let's see, The Love Has Gone, Don't Say Goodbye, that's another one, great little pop song there. No More Looking for Love, and closes out with When I Fall in Love. So a lot of songs about love, which is very typical for this time period. But yeah, it's a fun album. Again, some people might think it sounds annoying, but I don't have a problem with it. Next, I don't know if this would actually be considered a guilty pleasure, because I think a good chunk of people do enjoy this artist. So I have Bruno Mars. We have Unorthodox Jukebox. Very good album, I'd say. Has a good blend of R&B, but has some other elements as well, because if you hear this album, there's many callbacks to like very early music. Like, for example, like the big hit on here is Locked Out of Heaven, which has a very strong Police influence, because I know Bruno Mars is a huge fan of the Police and Sting, so it has that sort of rhythm to it. Other songs like Treasure, kind of a little callback to like 70s R&B, which is that's probably my favorite song on this album. But you have your typical pop songs like Moonshine's very good. When I Was Your Man, it's a nice little ballad. Natalie, another great one. If I Knew. Money Makes Her Smile. Like, it's just a very good modern album. Like, when did this come out? 2012. So 2012, yeah. I think that was like, I can't remember what I was doing during that time, but I remember hearing a lot of these songs on the radio and really liking it. Also, I just want to point out this back cover. Like, what's going on there? But regardless, it's a good album. I like it. I probably should start checking into more Bruno Mars, because I know he has like another project out. I forgot what it's called, like Sonic something. But I heard a lot of good things about that one, so hopefully I can check that out at some point. Okay, some more like modern pop. We have Pink, another 2012 album. Yeah, I dig Pink a lot. She has a great voice and a lot of good songs. I'll read some songs like Are We All We Are, Try, it's probably my favorite song here, Give Me a Reason, True Love, The Truth About Love, Walk of Shame, The Great Escape. Yeah, I dig it. Don't have a whole lot to say of it, but you know, it's just like music to play. Like if I'm not in the mood for anything heavy or anything, if I just want to just chill and just listen to something easy, usually I'll go to albums like that. Same thing can be said about this one, and I bought this one not that long ago. We have Katy Perry with Prism. I did that whole joke that one time. Hopefully people remember that one, that little gag. But yeah, I don't know why I'm in kind of a Katy Perry kick for some reason. I don't know, maybe it's because nostalgia, because I mean, she was huge back in the day. Of course, technically she is. This is my time. 2013 now we're talking here. You know, this had many hit singles. You have Roar. What was the other hit on here? Dark Horse. There we go. Clicked with me finally. And so there are other hits on here, but other songs that I just found really enjoyable were Lover's Birthday, Unconditionally. I have to rotate because the whole track listing is in this triangle formation. But I already said Dark Horse. Ghost. Ghost is a really good like power pop out song, I think. Very cool. I love that one. And there's some bonus songs on here as well. But yeah, I like her voice. She does have a good voice. Again, people consider her more like disposable pop, but I don't know. It's fun. I like it. So yeah, Katy Perry. All right, now let's get to the heavy hitters here. Okay, next. I can understand why people don't like it, but I have always had a soft spot for it for some reason. Yep, Queen, Hot Space. Yeah, I don't hate this album. I get why though. You know, it's very dance oriented. There's not so much rock on here. And you know, I get it. But you know, there's some good songs like Staying Power. Of course, I will say the live version of Staying Power is a lot better than on studio. Dancer, kind of the same boat. Some people don't like Backchat for some reason. I've always liked Backchat for some reason. It just has a good funk rhythm to it, and I like the guitar solo in it. Body Language, okay, yeah, that one I get. Like, it's not my favorite on the album either, but, you know, it's there. Actions Day is pretty good. Put Out Fire is okay. Life is Real, Song for Lennon is a very good standout number. Calling Out Girls is another one of those songs where I do like, but I get why people don't like it. Then you have Las Palabras de Amor. This one was dedicated to their South American fans, and yeah, that's a good song. I like that one a lot. Cool Cat's very cool. And of course it has Under Pressure, which is, to many people, that's like the only good song on here, but I think the rest of the album is pretty good. I like it a lot. It's a fun album. Again, it's not my favorite period of the band, but for what it is, it's a very enjoyable. It's a nice album. I do like it. And of course, fun fact, this was the album that influenced Michael Jackson to make Thriller, so that's a good thing, I guess. All right, next, another very big band, and many people have said, especially the hardcore fans, that said this is probably their worst period. I disagree. People would point to this one as the worst of that period. We have Hold Your Fire. Again, this is late 80s, 1987. 1987 this came out. They're very into the synthesizers here. Not so much of that hard rock sound that people have known them for. And I think for what it is, I think this is a bit overhated. I think there's some great pop, more commercial sounding. There's some great commercial sounding songs on here. I will say the first half is probably the best half by far. You have Force 10, Time Stands Still, Open Secret, Second Nature. Then you have Prime Mover. Like that first half is just absolutely, I love it. Like I pretty much enjoy every song on the first half. The second half is kind of where it starts. I can see why it's kind of not as strong as the first. You know, there's some okay songs like Lock and Key, Mission, and High Wire's up pretty good. But it has Tai Shan, which it's not my favorite either. It's probably the weakest song on here. But for what it is, it's different, but it's good in my opinion. All right, Britney Spears, she's back. It's been a while since I've shown her off in this channel. But yeah, I don't know why. I guess because of the whole what was that whole movement called? It was like, Britney Spears was in the news, I think in 2021, suing her dad and all that, trying to take control of her life. Like, that was a huge thing in the news. So I guess I've heard that news so many times, it kind of made me want to go back and just, give her a listen. And I like it too. I like this one too. It's just, it's like, it screams 2000. And actually, not 2000, this was 1999, so I'm the same age as this album, funny enough. It's just a fun, 2000s pop album, there's nothing else to it, but this is just something to just, chill out, or just like, have fun, I mean, it has the big hit, which is the title track, You Drive Me Crazy, Sometimes, Born to Make You Happy is another good song, I like that one. I Will Be There, Talking About You, and some other great songs on here. And yeah, it's fun. I enjoy this one. I know I'm sounding like a broken record right now, but that's all I can really say about a lot of these albums. I dig them. All right, next. Not sure about this one, because there's either two sides. There's people that say that, oh my god, not this band, but then there's the other half of people who claim like, oh my god, this is one of the most underrated 80s bands out there, and that's Stryper. And I could have chosen like any Stryper album. This is probably the one I've heard the most. We have To Hell with the Devil. So Stryper is a Christian hair metal band, and actually here's a photo of them. So got the hair and everything, but it's a Christian. They're a Christian band, so a lot of the songs are about Christianity and stuff like that. And, to a lot of people, that's a big turnoff. Once they hear that they're talking about religion, people are like, oh, get that stuff away from me. But the music is just so good. Like, the guitars on here are just absolutely spectacular. So you have Michael Sweet. Actually, is it Michael or I think it was Michael. Yeah, Michael Sweet. And then you have Oz Fox on guitars, and just some great guitar work on here. Great drumming as well. Bass is solid. And the vocals by Michael Sweet, it's just like, oh my gosh, like out of this world. It's like he can get so high. It's just, I love that sound. So this is probably their most well-known album, I think. You have the title track, To Hell with the Devil. You have Calling on You, Free, Honestly, which is their power ballad, which I'm a sucker for ballads. So then you have The Way, another great hard rocking heavy number. Sing along song, Rockin' the World, All of Me, More Than a Man. Just a good 80s metal album. It's very good. Again, the Christian thing is a turn off for people, but the music, just good stuff. All right, another one of those albums that many people tend to not like. We have Kilroy was here by Styx. Yeah, again, this is Dennis DeYoung's attempt to make this grandiose, very theatrical concept album. And to many people it was a failure. And the tour didn't sell that well. People just weren't interested in the whole theatrics of it. They just wanted like a good hard rocking album that Styx were known prior. But again, I'm a sucker for like theatrical stuff, and so I kind of like for it. And, it's there are some parts where it is cheesy, like Mr. Roboto. It's a cheesy song, kind of corny, but I don't know. It's a fun song. I enjoy that one. The other songs on here, like Cold War by Tommy Shaw, I think that's a very solid song. Don't Let It End, which is a ballad. I already said one of my thoughts about ballads, so I'll keep it at that. Then you have Heavy Metal Poisoning by James Young, and that's a good hard rock number. Just Through the Night is pretty good. Double Life I enjoy. And then Tommy Shaw has a little ballad, Haven't We Been Here Before? Then you have a reprise of Don't Let It End. I mean, the concept is kind of weak. It's kind of vague with the whole story. So I can see, I understand why this is a failure to most people, but for what it is, I think there's still some very good songs on here. And even if I just ignore the concept, like even I can still get behind a lot of these songs here. And I gotta commend for Des Young for attempting something like this. Like, it was a good. I thought it was an interesting idea, but I think I do agree it probably wasn't executed that well. If it was like stronger, had a much more powerful message behind it, then I feel like it could have been better. But yeah, it's a fine album. It's not my favorite Styx album by a long shot, but I still have some enjoyment from this one. All right, just 2 more to go. Wham! You have George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley. I mean, again, I don't have much else to say. It's just fun 80s pop. I mean, you have Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. I mean, if you're not happy, listen to that song. What the heck is wrong with you? Everything She Wants, Heartbeat's a nice little pop tune. If You Were There, Freedom. And then this one has Careless Whisper on it, which is it has a 6-minute version of Careless Whisper, so it has a more drawn out intro before it gets to the actual song, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, again, not much to say, but you know, it's 80s pop. If you don't like 80s pop, come on, just lighten up, man. Anyhow, all right. I haven't shown this album that much. I would say this is probably the truest guilty pleasure album I'm going to show, and that's kind of why it's the last one, because like, it's a guilty pleasure, but I don't even think people know it exists even. Like, it's just a very obscure album, and it's by a very notable artist. So of course I'm going to be talking about Edgar Winter, and this is an album called Mission Earth. I've wanted to do a video on this album, but I never had the time, so I'll try to keep it brief. But basically, if you don't know, so this is Edgar Winter collaborating with the man named L. Ron Hubbard, who is an author, but also the founder of the Church of Scientology. And Edgar Winter is a part, well, I'm not sure if he is now, but at this point, he was a part of it, and he got in contact with L. Ron, and they decided to collab. And if you don't know what Mission Earth is, Mission Earth was the name of a science fiction novel series that Hubbard wrote, and he wanted Edgar Winter to make like an album based on the books. And yeah, this is what you get. So the lyrics are written by L. Ron Hubbard, supposedly, but then you have Edgar writing the music. And it's just a weird album. It's kind of like, it's trying to be like your typical like 80s like pop rock album, but there's also a concept album, but the concept is so vague. Like, it's supposed to combine like all the books, which is a 10-volume series, into like a 40-minute album, and it just doesn't work. But I guess because of that, that's kind of why I enjoy this album, because it's just another one of those like hilarious failures that I I get enjoyment just making fun of it, because the lyrics are just like so baffling, like bafflingly bad. Because you know, I'll read you a few excerpts. See, where can I find it? To Mission Earth I was assigned, a planet that was seizure inclined, that we must annex with its drugs and sex, ensuring our attack was not mistimed. Like, okay. Then you have, my confession will make your blood run high, with intrigue, sex, and foggy pots, and all the sin that the earth is in, boiled into a cunning plot. Okay. And then there's more stuff like this, like here's a song called Just a Kid, and the chorus is just this: hey kid, what you know, hey kid, how's it go, just a kid, hey kid, what you know, hey kid, how's it go, yeah, just a kid. It's so dumb. But for some reason, despite how crap the lyrics are, like, Edgar is just trying his best to make this sound good, and I think the music is kind of the best thing about the album, because he puts so much like work into the hooks, like there's lots of saxophone on here, and it just sounds great. The melodies he puts in, like, if you just ignore the lyrics And if this was just instrumental album, like, I would think this is actually kind of nice. But yeah, it's a weird thing that happened. Again, it didn't sell well at all, and of course, it's so obscure that most people don't even know it exists. So heck, I might have educated some of you on this album. But yeah, I just like it. One, the music's good, but also because it's one of those great train wrecks that I kind of enjoy. It's kind of like a car crash. You just can't help but not look away, but not look away from it. And yeah, there's that girl on the back, by the way. So yeah, and by the way, please note that I am not associated with this Church of Scientology. I mean, to be frank, I barely know what they talk about, but I think I'm better off not knowing. But anyhow, there you have it. Those are 11 of my guilty pleasure albums. Again, well, I'm not guilty about it now because I just admitted it. So I think I'm free from all the guilt. But anyhow, hopefully you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this, please give this video a like, subscribe if you are new. Again, like I said in the beginning, if you have some guilty pleasure albums that you want to share, let me know your thoughts, and let me know your thoughts on my picks. And until then, I'll see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye for now.